Thank you, Christina, for that lovely dance. Thank you, Lisa, for the reading, the message, everything that everyone has been saying. I'm feeling it all weaving together, and I have to confess that Christina and I didn't plan to coordinate our outfits, but I think we're on the same vibe. It's all coming together. And also, Father's Day is coming up. Send in your stories for the newsletter. And I wanted to, got you. My dad is a mechanical engineer. And, he's the kind of guy, like, he's always got the right tool. Like, I got a tool for that. And he's a great guy to have around. He's a really handy chap. He's really good for, like, plumbing, electrical, any kind of handyman situation, structural, or even cosmetic. He's really creative, too. I remember our family dog slept in the laundry room. It was the mud room. The dog slept there, like, under the countertop, across from the dryer, next to the boots in this dark old room. And my dad, in order to give the dog more privacy and a more beautiful sense of home, my dad created this gorgeous, like, sculpted, carved wooden, like, privacy screen, this, like, gorgeous doggy gazebo of just, like, extravagance and craftsmanship. It's just outstanding. And not only is he like a hands-on technical skill kind of guy, he's also the project management sort. He knows the most efficient path when it comes to building something, when it comes to creating a project. I trust his advice when it comes to stuff like that. Strategic thinking, efficiency, And he told me something once that it just keeps on rolling around in my head. And I'm inclined to take his advice when it comes to efficiency and strategy pretty seriously. He told me, respect the material. And that means that whatever it is, whatever your project is, whatever it is that you have a mind to be working on, you better understand the properties of the materials that you're dealing with in the interest of efficiency. Because you can leverage all of your skill and your vision and compensating for what you don't know about the material that you're working with. But it would be a whole lot more strategic and efficient if you understood the melting point of tin, if you're working with that, or the different kinds of woods that you're working with and how they splinter under different kinds of pressure. Respect the material is an efficient strategy. And now I'm not an engineer. I don't work with tin. But I am a doctor of occupational therapy. I'm a singer also. I've been here before. I've been singing here, and that's a part of what I do. And in some ways, everything that I do, I'm a singer. It's like the tone that flows through me is the tone as it flows through me in all of my many expressions. Nothing can stop this tone from singing. And one of the ways that I sing is as a doctor of occupational therapy. And I think about that concept, respect the material, when it comes to my work there, when I'm working with human beings, the material of a human being and the project of living, this material of a human being, the material that we have certain properties too. We have a weave and a weft, like our need to love and be loved. We need each other. We're highly, highly social beings. We are interconnected and individuated aspects of creation, a continuous creative expression. We're interconnected with all things and with each other and with our source. And even though there is individuation, there is that continuity. There's individuation, but there's not really separation. And we're aspects of that continuous creation, and we're also aspects of the Creator. We are aspects of that creative energy, and creation creates through us. This is awesome. This is truly awesome. And how do we take those properties of this material that we are? How do we take those properties seriously towards the project of co-creating our reality in peace, in unity, and in bliss? Well, I've been thinking about it. I've been conceptualizing like all these different points that I want to make, and I was like, Delith, I'm gonna have some visual aids. I need some I need a laser pointer, and they're gonna need to take notes. All of this, but just like talking you through my whole analysis of what it means to be a human being, and that's great, and maybe that's the place that I'm most comfortable speaking from. But that's not actually what I'm here to share. So I ditched all of it entirely. No more visual aids. Because our whole society at present is really, really steeped in that left-brained, analytical, linear, logical, masculine style of thought. And we've built structures out of it. We built systems out of this left brain fabric, but that's not the whole of who we are. That's only taking into account a part of the material that we are. We got a whole other side to the brain. Humans have this whole other aspect of them. In theory we do. We are steeped in the soup that we're steeped in, and we perceive in its likeness. We perceive things in that logical, analytical way. But I think, in the interest of an efficient strategy, I think it would be wise to endeavor to get clarity about that other side of our material. And it's tough to consider that other aspect of our material for a few reasons. Because we are so steeped in it. It's hard to look outside of the soup that you're sitting in. It literally is coloring everything that we see, and we internalize that. We're drinking that soup, and we're feeding that soup to others without really realizing it. And moreover, language itself is linear in that beginning, middle, and end way. It's like language itself is that encapsulation that require, like literally the language faculty in our brain is in the left side of our brain. That's where it is. So when we endeavor to talk about this other aspect of the material that we are, in the process of speaking about it, we kind of lose it. It's tough. It is tough. And also, this other aspect of who we are, this right-brained side of us, is also feminine. It's the feminine side of us. And throughout, a long time now, the feminine aspect of everything, and not just women. I mean the feminine aspect that's in absolutely everything. It's inherent in absolutely everything. Absolutely everything has masculine and feminine energy. And the feminine aspect of everything has been vilified, has been hunted, has been demonized, has been, it's messy, it's confusing, it's dark, So for all of these reasons and more, it does make it difficult to access this other aspect of the material that we are. So how can we respect the material that we are? How can we really be efficient when we're hardly even aware of the full depth of this material that we are? But things are shifting these days, right? Things are shifting these days. We're feeling a bit of an awakening into that feminine energy. There has been a rising in consciousness in recent years, and part of that rise in consciousness is the reawakening of that feminine energy. And it's because of that rising in consciousness, because of that rising in the feminine energy, that I'm even able to get beyond all of my diagrams and analyses and even begin to fathom that this is something that I feel like we should kind of be scratching into. There's just like, it's kind of itchy there. We need to be investigating that, because we are co-creators of our reality. We are co-creators of our reality. And these are interesting times that we're in. Destabilizing times that we're in. It's a wild time to be alive. And it would be very wise now to get clear and to get efficient on our strategy of how we go about co-creating. So in the interest of strategy and efficiency, respecting the material means opening our minds to the possibility that the process itself might be radically different than what we've even been able to fathom. Light itself is both a particle and a wave. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I would love to talk to you more about it. I've got charts. Light is both a particle and a wave. And we have been fixated on and attuned to the particulate nature of our being and of reality. And the way that a particle behaves is radically different than how a wave behaves. A wave is not just a particle with a pink bow. It's not the same. It's not the same. Wave nature is radically different. So I'm here today to share wave technology for responsible co-creatorship. And I'm here in vulnerability because I don't exactly know what that is, but I think it's worth investigating together. So let me ask you this, like how many of y'all, like by a show of hands, how many of you all think that we are all one? Raise your hand if you think that we're all one. Awesome, me too, okay. And raise your hand if you think that the universe is an abundant place. Wonderful. And raise your hand if you think that the universe is a benevolent place. Me too. Keep it on up there if you think that we are intimately connected with our source. Yeah, I think so too. Now here's the devastating news. I don't think, I suspect that thinking those things isn't really what matters. Hear me out. Yeah, we co-create our reality based on our beliefs, right? Based on our beliefs. It's the energy that we are, that we emit, that creates the reality. But here's the kicker. Deciding that we think something and intellectually concurring with something, with a concept, that's a left-brained activity. And we definitely need both in order to create. You know, as far as we know, it takes two to tango. As far as we know, it requires both the masculine and the feminine to create. And there's a mantra here that feels really relevant. Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Namo Namo. Sarabha Shakti, Sarabha Shakti, Sarabha Shakti, Namo Namo. Pritam Bhagavati, Pritam Bhagavati, Pritam Bhagavati, Namo Namo. Kundalini Mata Shakti, Namo Namo. And those words, particularly Pritam Bhagavati, this means God creates through the feminine. Birth happens through the feminine. It requires both aspects, but creation happens through the feminine. And we're here to respect the material. That's how this material works. So I suspect that it might be our best strategy, not just to intellectually concur with these things that we agree with, but that to somehow we need the feminine technology of feeling it, of being it, in order to create our world. That's what I suspect. And this past week, it was my birthday. Thank you. And this past week, in a few moments here and there, I gave myself permission to be the pretty princess birthday girl. Right now, all of the flowers are blooming. It's so beautiful. And I just opened myself up into yes, the flowers are blooming for me. Yes, and the sun is caressing my skin. The breeze is blowing through my hair because it loves me. And I opened myself up to this worthiness to receive, this receptivity, which I would suggest is maybe a feminine technology. This receptivity. And I opened myself up to it, and that's how I realized that how I feel at baseline on most days is dramatically different. No matter what I think I believe, how I feel on most days at baseline is dramatically different than that big receptivity and that worthiness, that luscious birthday girl magic. So that means if I'm not feeling it, even though I think it, then I'm not being it. I'm not running that through the magnetic coil that is my feminine aspect. So I might not be responsibly creating then. I might not be respecting the material here. That means that how I feel on the regular is not actually in relationship to the abundance of the universe. I'm actually lined up with scarcity more often than I think, more often than I'd like to think. But I think it would be strategic to get honest with what we're feeling and what we're being and what we are actually lined up with. But this much worthiness, this much receptivity is honestly a little taboo. It kind of flies in the face of our good moral considerations of we don't want to take more than we deserve. There's limited resources, and some people hoard resources, and that makes it hard on other people. We don't want to be greedy. There's some people have received more than they've earned, and that's not fair. And I understand that. And I agree with that. I see the disparity. And it is problematic. So what I'm saying here is it is taboo, and I run up against that. That's why it's I couldn't even feel this until it was my birthday, and I was like, oh, okay. But that's how I realized, because when my heart flew open in receptivity like that, I could feel in interaction with that abundance. So I think that there's something here, even though it is taboo. And I think that when we're focusing on the injustice and the grief and the rage that can easily be found there, we're focused in with the scarcity, and it's how we feel is how we create. Because when we are focused on the inequities, when we're focused on the absurdness of the unfair distribution of limited resources, we're focused there, and we are embodying and we're believing there that those threats are more worth believing than our resources of abundance. When we believe that the threats are more powerful than our resources, that is textbook trauma. When the threats outweigh the resources, that is textbook trauma. We are living, I am living in a traumatized state way more than I knew. And this is not a condemnation of our traumatized state. Like, I'm not saying that we're doing it wrong. It's like we're traumatized. We are in the situation that we find ourselves in. We are traumatized, and we're trying to survive, and that's appropriate and that's necessary. And I think it's right and good to have compassion for our traumatized selves. But to the extent that we think that it's a wise strategy to focus our awareness on the injustice and the greed, because if we don't watch it in ourselves and in others, then it'll run amok unchecked. That strategy is what I'm calling into question. Because the opposite of trauma is creativity and play. And all of these things in the world that we're understandably upset about, these inhumane prisons of oppression, it's just the way that the energy flows. It wants to continue itself, like that energy finds a way to reinforce itself and perpetuate itself using any tool that it could find. And wouldn't it make sense that seeding us with the notion that our focus is noble, when we focus into that greed and that injustice, wouldn't it make sense that seeding us with the idea that focus is noble would benefit those systems of oppression when it's that focus that holds us out of our creativity, that holds us in our traumatized state? We don't need a jailer when we are running our own cage. So who exactly is that strategy efficient for? The opposite of trauma is creativity and play. Creation happens via the feminine and through the right brain, the wave-like material who we are. So I've done a lot of talking, and I know that we're at time, and I just want to wrap it up with just like throwing out all of these words, and hopefully I've explained the rationale enough for us to just fall into the irrational, fall into the magical, playful, receptive birthday girl vibes. I want to just invite you to stand up if you're willing and able. Just stand up and look up to the sky and just open your heart and just breathe and flow and just like dance a little bit. Just get into your birthday girl vibes. Yeah, and open your arms up to the sky and drink it in and have a bit of a giggle if you can. And just feel how magical you are and how good it is to receive and how much you can receive, because there's more where that came from. There's always more where that came from. Pull it in. Pull it all in. There is more where that came from, and it is right and good to receive it. It is strategic to receive it. It is of great benefit to all to receive it. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a hug. It is right and good to receive more and more and more and more. And that's just respecting the material that we are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.